Okay, a lot of sessions that I have with clients sort of will turn into a pep talk, depending on where the session leads us and if there's a need for that. I know I do that a lot in my videos as well. But I want to remind you that if you're in recovery and you're feeling extremely overwhelmed, like you're really doing recovery and you're just questioning a lot and you're just like, this can't be right. This feels so wrong. I feel so alone in this. Like nobody understands what I'm going through. Anybody that knew what I was doing would think I'm insane. Surely this is not going to work, right? Like all of those doubts that come in when you start really challenging your eating disorder. I want you to know those are all normal feelings to have. They're all so normal to have, but you can't listen to them. So unfortunately, and in this setting, this applies, not always, definitely probably most of the time not, but in eating disorder recovery, your emotions cannot dictate your decisions because your emotions are heavily influenced by your eating disorder right now. Heavily influenced by your eating disorder. And most of those emotions are fear, guilt, anxiety, shame, remorse, regret, right? Those feelings are not going to help you to be able to go on and eat unrestrictedly. Those feelings are not going to be enabling you to eat every 5 minutes or to drive, out to lunch and on your way home, stop and get a second lunch and then come home and have a third lunch and then keep eating until dinner. If you're listening and making decisions based off of fear, how's that going to work? It's not, right? It's not. And so you have to allow your decisions to be influenced by your commitments. That's the only thing that you can base any decisions on in your recovery is what did you commit to doing? Did you commit to eating unrestrictedly? Did you commit to resting? Right? Did you commit to stopping all of your eating disordered rituals and behaviors and whatnot outside of even just directly related to food? So did you stop running errands endlessly that you didn't need to run? Did you stop parking further away than you needed to? Did you stop using that small spoon that you typically grab? When you're challenging eating unrestrictedly and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna eat ice cream. I'm gonna go and eat ice cream. I just finished a session and I'm feeling all pumped up and jazzed and excited and ready to do this. I'm gonna go eat ice cream. And you go into the kitchen and you grab the ice cream and you get out a small bowl and you scoop just a somewhat decent portion, but nothing near what you want to actually eat. And you grab that small spoon and you stand at the counter and eat it instead of sitting down. That's not eating unrestrictedly. That's poking at your eating disorder and aggravating it. It's making the eating disorder get really, really, really loud, really loud. And it makes it so that you're in a situation now where you don't know where to turn. You don't know what to do because you just ticked your eating disorder off, right? Ticked it off. You ticked recovery off because that's not at all what it wanted. It wanted way more than that. And so you feel like you're in this downward spin, this cycle where you feel like you're getting nowhere. And that's hard to sustain. That is hard to sustain. People will do it actually longer than, sometimes I'm shocked. I'm like, we're still doing this. 3 months in, we're still doing this. Do you not see yet that this isn't working, right? This half in, half out thing, it doesn't work. And so when you're going to challenge a food, you have to go after it like you are playing a sport and you are aggressively tackling and pummeling your opponent, right? Otherwise, let's say you go up and you slap it across the face. Oh my gosh. And then you hide and you run. It's going to beat the living crap out of you. You have to go after it. So a scenario where you're actually eating unrestrictedly would look like I just finished a session, right? Or I just got this fire inside of me. I'm doing this. And I walk into the kitchen and I get that pint of ice cream out and I commit to and decide I'm eating that whole freaking pint. Right now I'm eating this entire pint. Do I want to eat it out of the carton? Do I want to put it in a bowl? Doesn't matter. It's the same amount of ice cream you're eating at all. Okay. And then you're going to get a giant spoon, biggest spoon you have in your kitchen. And then you're like, you know what? This ice cream's good, but it would be better with hot fudge and whipping cream and chocolate chips. So you do that because that's what you fantasize doing. That's what you thought that you wanted to do in the future, in your disorder at some point in the future. You've wanted to be able to do that, but you haven't let yourself. Now's the time. You have to do it now. Okay. And so you sit down with that dream that you always thought of. It's actually in front of you now, and you eat it and you finish it. And yes, your guilt is going to be high. And yes, your anxiety is going to be high and fear and whatnot. But then you remember, but we don't go off of emotions. We don't make decisions off of emotions. And right now I'm feeling terrified and I'm feeling like I can't eat any more food. But then you remember your commitment and you're like, but I said I had to eat unrestrictedly and I do want more food. So that would mean I have to eat. That's the decision you make right there. That's the one you listen to, the commitment. Do you see how every time if you're following those commitments and you're negating the emotions that come up, how you will recover, right? It seems so simple. As I say it, it's just like you're probably listening going, duh, Becky. But do it. Actually do it. And you'll see. So while that guilt and anxiety and fear is really, really high, you'll have this little something inside of you, really small at first, like tiny little seed at first, where you're like, I just beat that eating disorder at every angle it tried to come at me. I didn't let it in anywhere. I wanted the small spoon, I didn't let it. Wanted me to stand up or pace, and I didn't. It wanted me to eat nothing after I finished all that ice cream, but I did, right? That is rewiring. I can't emphasize that enough. That's how you rewire. And that's why yesterday in the video I said, there's a minority of people who do this. But you are totally capable today, in this very moment, to do it. Think about it. What is actually stopping you other than fear, which we don't listen to anymore? So that's my message to you today. Have a good weekend.